here from Autosavant.com with your June 12th edition of the Afternoon Commute. Didn't film an Afternoon Commute yesterday because all of the news yesterday was dominated by Apple and their Worldwide Developers Convention, or whatever they call it, which we'll talk about a little bit later. To start off today, and rewind time a little bit, a few months back I wrote an article for the Autosavant.com website about Progressive Snapshot. And Progressive Snapshot is a small flash drive with, I think, some accelerometers in it that you plug into the OBD2 port of your car. You leave it there for 30 days, you send it back to Progressive, and based on the data that's recorded, you can get up to a 30% discount on your auto insurance. And this sort of, spiraled, I guess you could say, on the site. And it quickly became the most viewed page on the site and is by far the most commented post on the site to date. And the commenters were probably about 70-30 split on the Big Brother side of this. 70% of them are saying, we shouldn't monitor our things. A lot of people actually had it and had positive and negative things to say about it. And the rest were like, I think it's fine. I'm willing to give up a little bit of, personal freedom to get a discount. Well, and before we get on to the story of the day, the same thing was available with GM's OnStar service. Well, now State Farm Insurance has partnered with Ford Sync to allow you to send your vehicle health report to State Farm on a semi-annual basis and really around the time of renewals. And if you do that, you automatically get a 5% discount, I believe. It might be automatic, it might not be. I'll have to check my facts on that one, apologies. Nevertheless, the way theirs works is just about not driving a lot. So basically, if you drive less than 1,000 miles a month, it seems like you get some kind of discount. So, as GM's got it with OnStar, Ford's got it with Sync, and you can voluntarily get it through Progressive. The question's going to become, put on your tinfoil hats, is it going to become a requirement that you allow insurance companies to monitor your driving behaviors in some way in order to qualify for their best rates? We'll continue to keep an eye on that and may actually do a follow-up article on it here in the near future. Next up for today, diesel engines. They've been promised to the U.S. for a while. In Europe, they're a huge part of the market, and in the United States, their take rate is up. The people that sell them sell quite a few of them, Volkswagen being the most obvious example. Well, last October, November, Mazda announced that they would be importing or would be manufacturing their 2.2 liter inline-4 Skyactiv, their new brand for their efficient model, diesels. They also announced then that in 2013 it would be available as a production model in the US. And what makes that little diesel motor stand out is the fact that it can meet Japan's new cleanliness requirements without any type of downstream injection to kill nitric oxide, to kill nitric oxide. That's a pollutant that comes out of it. And Mazda, Mercedes, and a few other use urea injection. Urea. They give it a prettier name like AdBlue or something like that. Well, Mazda's announced that part of the new GX class, which is a advanced or clean technology group as part of the Grand Am Racing Series, Mazda's announced that it will have a Skyactiv 2.2 liter diesel version available for that race series starting in 2013. So that should be interesting. We've learned from Audi and Peugeot in international endurance racing that the diesels work quite well in those applications. They're fuel efficient, their power delivery works well for racing, they don't eat tires. all that fun stuff. So expect those things to be quite successful, and hopefully we do see racing technology filter down, even though this is coming after the production release. But still, as maybe these catch on in racing, the demand for diesels in the US will continue to grow, and we'll see more of them on the street. I'm up for anything that increases efficiency. Again, the challenge we always have here in the States is the price premium for clean, low sulfur diesels kind of prices it out of the equation sometimes. Next up for today, the Buick Verano Turbo is officially announced, which is like a Chevy Cruze, but with a detuned engine from the Regal GS and faux portholes. To be honest with you, I could live the rest of my life without ever seeing those two words in an automotive press release. One being detuned and two being faux. So the Buick Verano Turbo should be a really nice little car. The amazing thing about it, the standout thing, is that you're going to be able to buy a Buick with 3 pedals and a 6-speed manual transmission. Manuals, their take rate is on the way up. How many Buick buyers are going to want one? We shall see. It might be a unicorn amongst cars, but got to commend them, I suppose, for doing it. If we're going to hate on Buick for coming out with a manual, we can then also not cry about the fact that you can't get a manual in a Ferrari anymore, for example. But nevertheless, here's the highlights: 250 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque, expected 0 to 60 of 6.2 seconds, which makes it one of the faster front-wheel drive compact cars out there. Should be nice and quiet and comfortable to be in, and well appointed for right around $30,000. Again, it's a little disappointing that they're detuning the Regal GS engine to stick it in there, although I'm sure it's for a bunch of different reasons. But expect to see that on sale in the not too distant future. And to close out today with two things, around the concept of Apple, where we started. First, which is an article that I would have never have found, or a technology I would have never known about if it wasn't for Jalopnik last week. So before we get to the company Jalopnik mentioned, I do want to talk a little bit about the whole debate that's going on in touchscreens in cars and input devices. So for example, the Ford Edge, which we did an infotainment review in, talked a little bit about the touchscreen in there and the fact that it works better than it used to, but still I'd prefer some kind of controller to interact with it. And in this Lexus GS 350 that we're in, it has a very interesting feature, which is this mouse-like pad that's tactile, so it gives you insights into, as you're moving it around, feedback about what's happening, and if you're over a button, it tries to stick there for a second before you move it past. It's a pretty good input device, and there's some buttons to deal with it. Audi's got a knob with 4 buttons. iDrive's got a knob now with some buttons, and some people have gone touchscreen only. Well, this company called Tactic Technologies has invented an overlay for touchscreens, which has a fluid-filled substance in it that, as things are happening on the screen, can dynamically create buttons, so that as you're, touching the touchscreen, there'll actually be a button there that you'll press, and those buttons can be redesigned based on what's ever happening on the screen. So that's a pretty exciting automotive technology, and the cool part about it is it doesn't just have to be for screens. It can be for other input areas, so you can dynamically recreate what's happening with the different buttons in the car. So take a look at them and stay tuned on that. Definitely something we'll follow up on in the future. And finally, as a result of Apple's press conference yesterday, be prepared to learn a new term. People for a while now have been talking about hands-free Bluetooth phone technologies. Well, Apple has coined the term eyes-free. And eyes-free is going to be a new feature that's available in iOS 6, the next operating system that will be on your iPhone and your iPad. And It's supposedly a technology to help in the car. So when you activate Siri, they're new and also updated in iOS 6 voice assistant. The screen in theory will stay completely dark, and you'll be able to interact with Siri through voice commands to accomplish a number of things. Well, that's great and all, except for you still have to activate Siri. So for right now, for example, hope you like my sweet pink iPhone case. If I go in here, I'm connected to the car and hold down the Siri button. I'm now actually talking to Siri through the Bluetooth connection through the phone. So as I talk, the little meter bounces up and down. Well, a bunch of automotive manufacturers, 9 of them in fact, are working to put a Siri button, a button to be able to activate Siri directly into your car. Those are, and I have a list here, BMW, General Motors, Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Jaguar, which should really count as one, Audi, Toyota, Chrysler, and Honda. Not on that list, Ford. So Ford's partnership with Microsoft and Sync seems to have gotten them out of that. But in all honesty, having some other kind of button that could activate it doesn't seem to be something you'd really need to have a connection with Apple with, but nevertheless. So, again, eyes free. The new term from Apple, expected to be said way too many times in the next 12 to 18 months. That's all we had. I'm Kevin Gordon from Autosavant.com, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon.